I'm actually moderating the next panel. So the next panel is going to be on taxation, accounting, and education around that for some of the firms. So I'd like to invite my panelists up to speak. So come on up. Okay. So thank you, everybody. I know it's been a long and fun day, and hopefully you guys are learning a lot and getting to know some of the community here in Toronto and from around the world. My name is Kerem, head of enterprise consulting at MLG Blockchain, and I'm just going to pass along so everyone can introduce themselves.
John Riggins, international operations at BTC Media.
My name is Tongtong. I'm the Chief Innovation Officer at Digital Finance Institute.
My name is Mohamed Kandri. I'm the CEO of FA Enterprise System, Program Manager at the Blockchain Hub at York University.
Hi, Kapil Ramgirwar, Senior Audit Manager in KPMG. I focus on asset management space and also looking at blockchain and cryptocurrencies and how we can support this growing industry.
Okay, so I'll open to an open discussion and kind of we can guide it as we go. But the first question I really wanted to talk about was with blockchains being the foundation to kind of change how the traditional finances have acted over so many years, and requiring CPAs and audit and tax professionals to oversee how things are done. Do you guys see the CPA profession at threat, or how it's going to change in the upcoming years?
Yeah, so I just have a little story to share. So yesterday we actually launched our Blockchain House launch party. We had a crowd of 500, a lot of people just joined us, and one of the lady who worked for the past 20 years as accountant just approached me, expressing her concern about blockchain technology taking over her job or just changing the nature of her job. So what I told her, I probably don't have a say in this, but I feel like blockchain for sure will be assisting accounting industry in a certain way. So for accountants or CPA charter holders, they might have to adapt themselves to adopting technologies and embracing them. That's the story I want to share.
Kapil?
Well, I'm probably the only accountant on this panel, so maybe I'll start with my views. So what blockchain is doing is putting a lot of trust in a digital form, where traditionally books and records were maintained in silos, and you had independent third party come in and validate and use their report to say that their financial systems and records are something that parties can trust. With blockchain, I think it may not be solution for everything. So I guess there's still going to be a role for CPAs. Traditionally, you'd look at CPAs to do audit, tax, advisory services. I do see these will evolve with technology, and the type of work that we may be doing will look slightly different than what it is today. Where you can easily obtain trust that can be verified digitally, you may not need an audit service. So that's potentially an area that can be replaced by the technology. But there'll be areas where you require judgment. That'll require certain level of estimation process, and you need some level of validation. The other areas that I can think about are a lot of the enhancements that you'll see with the blockchain technology is with the notion of smart contracts. There might be a role for an independent auditor to play to validate the smart contract and it function the way it was supposed to function. right? Take an instance of a permission blockchain, where all the parties involved, they may want to have a level of trust on the permission blockchain. So, you could actually have an audit done to understand whether the blockchain works in the intended manner, right? So there are a few things that a traditional auditor would have done might be, different, but at the same time, it's going to present a lot more newer opportunities as the technology grows.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think blockchain is, taking away jobs necessarily, but maybe taking away some of the repetitive work that maybe analysts would have to do, and maybe opening up some time for them to actually innovate and letting the actual technology take care of some of the work. Mohamed?
Yeah, I think I agree with my fellow panelists. I just want to add also that there is this fact that blockchain provide a high level of transparency, especially like when we are talking about open blockchain. I know for a fact probably there are privacy concerns, but it's something we can tackle. But it's one of the main advantages that blockchain technology can provide. And again, I agree that like blockchain technology won't replace the accounting function 100%. Of course, like you will still need experts who will be looking into the rules, improving processes, etc. Because again, when we talk about smart contract, it's just a digital transformation or rules that self-execute. So you need people with expertise who knows the fields that will provide these rules. And I don't think that accountants should perceive blockchain as a threat. I mean, it's same with internet. Like people who thought that internet is a threat to their activity probably don't exist anymore today. So, and it's something that we have seen within the blockchain hub itself. Like we have seen lawyers turning into blockchain coders, and we received people from different backgrounds, including accountants, who want to learn about this technology and who want to be ahead of the game, because they know that it's something that's here to stay and something that's gonna revolutionize pretty much any type of industry with these intermediaries.
I agree. I guess financial auditors are now having to adapt to become maybe IT auditors, and as the industry grows and digital transformation affects us all, I think we all have to brush up on our IT skills and be able to embrace change. John?
Yeah, I agree with that point, and I agree with pretty much everyone here that kind of long-term blockchains might simplify and kind of be a better infrastructure layer than what we currently have. In the meantime, kind of point back to our last panel, we just need more kind of concrete guidance and clear regulation, before we can really see that efficiency gain. In the meantime, really, it's kind of a boon for the accounting and CPA folks out there, because the more complexity that you add to the current current business environment, the more people need people with those CPAs to help them out. I know us as a crypto business that pays people in crypto, holds crypto, it's done a couple token sales and wants to utilize those tokens in certain ways. We paid a good bit of money to accounting firms this past year, and probably ended up answering as many questions for them as they did for us. So short term, a nice boon for CPAs who know what's going on and can advise.
Yeah, so exactly. So that takes us, I think, kind of transitioning us into the education side of things. This is a new technology that is affecting a lot of different businesses, and it's going, in my opinion, is going to touch every single business that operates today. And just like John said, when he's working with professional services firms, not only are they learning from them, but they're teaching them as well. So how are you guys looking to, I guess, share your knowledge in the industry with maybe more traditional firms? And as a traditional firm, how are you looking to embrace the technology and have that learning and development internally so that your staff is ready to answer the questions coming from your clients?
You can take a stab at this one. I think, from my perspective, there are different levels of education. I think when we talk about education is a very important component to mass adoption of this technology. So you have education for the end user, people who are using the technology, who probably might be different from the people who are implementing. Also, like I think we should also involve the different stakeholders. I agree with you. Like regulation is key. I think that blockchain won't be implemented tomorrow, today in the accounting system. So we need to educate the decision maker and the regulators on how this technology can enable and what are the opportunities, which is important because I think that there is a lot of misperception out there, and we need to distinguish knowledge and misinformation. And again, like events like this are very important to educate the mainstream users, but we have been working very closely at the Blockchain Hub in building the community and giving the chance to the different stakeholders, whether they are working on blockchain projects or they are lawyers, etc., to come and talk and discuss and see how we can help foster and improve this ecosystem.
So I guess one of the things that I always tell people is, blockchain is not a solution for everything, right? You can do as simple thing as like just Google, if you just Google IEEE, do I need a blockchain? It'll actually give you a decision tree. And you, more often than not, come to a conclusion that you may actually not need a blockchain, right? So simple things like that are very important for people to understand before they go deep into the actual technology and implementation of technology, right? So understanding some basics, giving some of the basic insights to people at the governance level, board of directors, audit committee members, them sort of knowing what the implications of this technology are is probably a very, very good place to start with, because you want to make sure the decisions that are made at the top are made with the right outcomes in mind. And I think to that point, when people come to us, our clients comes to us, we actually help them understand, and go through the process of looking at what is it that they're looking to achieve. If they have some level of confidence that there is a case for it, we go through and understand, work with a proof of concept and see whether or not blockchain is the right solution and it's going to bring efficiencies or else benefits to the organization. So that's the sort of thing that we focus on from a education and sort of helping our clients achieve the potential of this technology.
Okay, anyone else?
Yeah, so I totally agree what Kapil and Mohamed just said. Educating the market is definitely an issue that's facing a lot of blockchain business at the moment. And for random individuals who wants to learn about blockchain, an established ecosystem or growing community is very important, such as Blockchain Hub from York University. And I know that Ryzen is also launching a lot of courses educating open to public for registration to learn about blockchain, not just for coding or even from a business side. That's very helpful in terms of educating the market, make it ready for blockchain-based business to have some opportunity to grow or sell their products to their clients without explaining what blockchain is starting from the scratch. So that's something definitely it's happening, and it's happening specifically in Toronto. So that's what most of the reason why companies will choose to move to Toronto or set up a headquarters here to join the community and grow together. As a self-taught blockchain financial crime expert, specialist, sorry. What we do is that, what we do is that we investigate into suspicious transactions on blockchain. This is a very new subject by the time we started. No one has ever done anything like that. FinTrack is not really interested in recording those transactions. So what we did is that we used all the open resource. We we watch a lot of BlockX video to learn what blockchain is, starting from zero, and then we conduct all the tracing on blockchain. Because blockchain is open public resource. It's transparent. Anyone can get onto it as long as you have the wallet address that you want to trace. So it's something that definitely everyone can, who's interested, can get into. And what we've been doing is that someone has to start to learn. Once they learn how to do it, they just make a manual that's available for everyone who's just joined recently, and everyone can start practicing and learning. So it's always a growing opportunity for everyone in terms of education.
I think I just want to add on what Kapil was mentioning. I think it's important to ask, is the blockchain the right solution? But the other question is, do the tool we have today can support large-scale enterprise applications? So we all know that, for example, scalability is a challenge in the public blockchain. So I think there's some fundamental technology challenges we need to tackle as well before this technology being able to support large-scale enterprise applications.
Okay, and I'll present last question. This might feed perfectly into what you just said, Tongtong. Do you think in this transition phase of all these enterprises and just consumers adopting blockchains for financial services amongst each other, during this phase, do you think we're going to be seeing more or less financial crimes? And I know long term, it's going to be something to add the transparency and trust for us all to be able to operate fairly. But during this transition period, how do you see things playing out? And I'll ask all of you to give me a quick answer on that.
Yeah. The U.S. dollar is still the go-to currency for illicit activities. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. It'll be interesting to see if we see blockchains that are super, have great privacy features and anonymity adopted in a bigger way than they are now, but it hasn't really been the case yet. But I think it probably will be once those kind of more privacy-focused blockchains are robust enough and scalable.
To answer your question about financial crime appearing on the blockchain, I think it's a very controversial question as of whether you're a fan of centralized exchange or decentralized exchange. So centralized exchange, if they work together, they can for sure help exchange information and help reduce some crime conducted on the blockchain. I know for now a lot of cases are found on the blockchain that people use it to trade drugs or some other even more serious crime. So if you're a fan of decentralized exchange, it's probably not a case that you would care about, but definitely the regulator will step in. I know that FinTrack is also planning to launch their official template for exchange to submit their report on suspicious transaction. So I do see a growing trend in the regulator side that they wanted this industry to be regulated, and a lot of centralized exchange also express interest to be regulated by the government. So it's a yes or no. It kind of depends.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It depends. Right now, we don't have enough data to see whether blockchain is reducing the number of financial crimes. But I would assume the answer would be yes. Again, two things to highlight. First is I think blockchain capabilities like smart contracts can give organization like FinTrack, for example, a tool to report this kind of transaction or trace and track this kind of transaction in automated manner. Second, one of the for me the biggest breakthrough technology that blockchain brought is the incentive system within the network, where as a user or as a node, they are more incentivized to play by the rules of the system than to game the system, which I think it's key to reduce malicious activities within the network.
So I'm not a very technical person when it comes to commenting on whether this will enable financial crimes more. But I guess two things. I guess cash is still the best way to conduct financial crimes. The other thing is, in some way, shape, or form, if you're using blockchain, you will have an audit trail. So people will come up with technologies that can trace back to you in some way, shape, or form. They might be still in the process of developing, but there are capabilities that can happen. That it's probably more safer to use the blockchain for the regular transactions.
Okay, thank you very much. That's all the time we have for this panel, but can I get a round of applause for my panelists, please? Thank you.